Been making quite a few videos this week. I just read a story that was on Facebook. It was submitted by a local news station in Detroit about a couple found passed out in Ohio with a young child in the back. Not only were these people passed out, but they had overdosed in the car. Car was at a stop. When the police encountered the car, the gentleman uh, came to and said that he was taking the woman in the car to the hospital. He then proceeded to pass out again before he turned the key and then passed out. Well, the officer grabbed the key from the ignition and they uh, gave them both Narcan, which is for overdose with heroin. Um, Apparently, it saved their life. They had a young boy in the car with them. The boy was the son of the father. Um, a scary thought if you're a parent to know that somebody. I mean, if the mother was not is not involved, the woman was not identified as mother. So, if his mother is around, she has to be absolutely frantic if she's alive. Um, this is what we're dealing with in this country today. Worrying about protests about people being treated unjustly, I think takes a backseat to the health and welfare of adults and abusing their bodies in ways that was not intended. And an innocent child could have been involved in this. The child was placed in Children's Protective Services and identified as his son. Um, the police posted pictures of the couple when they came upon the car on their Facebook, and they may be very stark and shocking, but that's also informative to the way that it's not a random thing, something that happens out of the blue. It happens quite often. There are 23 million people in this country that are in recovery, and there are probably just as many who need to find recovery. Maybe have tried, have not found the right way to work for them, or they don't have the support, or whatever it may be. The answers for them are not there. Instead of worrying about, to me, silly things like the presidential race, which I think everyone can admit that both candidates are a joke. It's like a reality show. Of, it's like a gong show, really. Just, two people that have the money to run, but are really unqualified. And I would not even propose a candidate for either party to step forward to be more representative because in my humble opinion, I think Washington, D.C. needs to be flushed all the way through. The red tape and nonsense that goes on to get simple things done is shocking and stark. And in my video here, I am going to provide a picture, the pictures that were on Facebook of this couple that the police took on Facebook. And honestly, I've been fortunate. I'm in recovery for almost 3 decades, and I have learned over time the things I need to do to cope with life such as it is. And the dishonesty in people, and generally not being, not even being forthcoming about the simplest things is just ungodly. The morality in people is a shell of what it once used to be. It's all about chasing the mighty dollar or grasping some whisper of fame instead of being who you are and being the best that you can be. For a while, I was a person that lied and misrepresented things because I thought it was going to get me somewhere. Those little white lies and the fibbing and the half truths, they don't get you anywhere. And when you're dealing with people who are professional liars, and there are a lot of them out there, it gets you nowhere fast because you're kindergarten level with people who have got their diploma in line. They know how to do it so well, and I've been sober so long I can spot a liar a mile away, and generally if someone's less than honest or is deceitful or lying, I cut ties with them. I don't appreciate people who are trying to do things their own way and they mess with your world by lying. And lying is I think it's an offshoot of substance abuse, uh, not necessarily being an alcoholic or a drug addict, but enough use that you tend to think that, this little white lie is okay. This little white lie is okay. And I've trained myself to, as much as I possibly can, be honest. And that's not the way this government or this country or this society is set up. It's set up for liars. And unfortunately for this couple, they're going to learn they're being charged with with endangering a child, driving under the influence, no seatbelt, and probably some other things. The unfortunate thing is the kind of treatment that people need once they get to the point where it's difficult to quit drinking unless you learn to be extremely disciplined. It's not there at any level. And this is what causes many of the society's problems. Instead of being honest and being fair and being the best that you can be towards other people. And people who scam and lie to other people, they're the ones that cause the deficits in provision of services for people who honestly need help. And it's the people who honestly need help that can't get it because they're honest about their situation. And so these are people that we need to stand up for. Even though they're doing a lot of the wrong things, you know, another human is our brother. They are a part of us. And if there is something dysfunctional in them, they're going to bring the dysfunction into the whole of society. And if we can help them learn to normalize how they behave and fit more closely into society, then everybody wants to be an individual. That's okay. But when you're bringing substance abuse and hurting other people, whether it be domestic violence or causing them loss in any aspect of life, you are a part of the bigger problem that's going on in this country today. And until the government in Washington, D.C. is willing to actually make accommodations for that, and where they are shorting people, regardless of color, race, creed, disability, whatever, and just try to make things right. It may cost some people a little bit of cash, a little bit of time, but in the long run, everyone wins because you're allowing people to function at a more normal rate and letting them live an acceptable life. And a lot of this goes down to the I will not call it racism. I call it bigotry because there are biases against race, really eh, people's ethnicity. That is what the bias is against. It's not really race. It's from where you're from, what your ethnic background is, or disability, or just being different. And a lot of what I equate it to is to the Dr. Seuss story, The Sneetches, when there's always a group that when you fit in, somebody wants to change it so that there is an elite group that is separate. And for whatever reason, I think that for whatever reason they do that, they have bigotry. And when you look at people that do that, when you go back into their backgrounds, they were the victims of the same thing. So why would you do that? Why would you hold that anger in? It doesn't make any sense. It make more sense to try and make things more equal, more fair, more unbigoted. So what I'm asking is, if you know somebody who is either going through early recovery or needs recovery, to have a little more thought towards them, because the change a person goes through from the time they time before they go into rehab to the time they started to me, who was a couple decades removed, there is such growth and such change in the person. You no longer are the person you were when you first started. Not if you're committed. If you're not committed, you're not going to change. You have to believe that if you put forth the effort, change will come. It may not happen as quickly as you want, but you have to plant the seeds to make things grow. And many people are not patient enough for that. And part of finding a recovery is patience because things do not happen at snap. Well, if I just quit, everything will be okay. No, you have to make inroads and change your personality and change the way you look at things. It is an evolution. It's an evolution of person and personality. And anyone that may have known me in my early 20s that would meet me now would be absolutely floored. I was a nice guy then, but I was more selfish. I drank, I had different view on things, and I was quote unquote the happy drunk. But now I think on a bigger scale, I see somebody suffering. If I know something that may benefit them, I put it out there for them. It's throwing a seed out there for somebody, and hopefully somebody will throw a little bit of dirt on it. It may not take right away, but a little sunshine, a little rain. Eventually, you might have something that grows, but you have to be patient. You can't just expect it to happen overnight. Initially, that's what I thought with me, and this is heartbreaking for me. And they look like they're fairly young people, and the boy in the back seat is very young. Something very tragic could have happened. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The harm was self inflicted that was able to be overcome, but now those people have to take that next step to try and change their view of the world and the where their world is going. And this is a common, those photos are a common thing that is going on in the US. We may not hear about it because news doesn't want to put all that stuff out there. But to be honest, news like this is something that people need to know. And they need to understand that it's not an overnight change. You can just do this. No, you have to work at everything in this life that you achieve, whether it be me back in my 20s being a drunken, do nothing bum, to now being a 50 something involved person working as a volunteer and trying to expand my horizons. And I think no matter what age you are, if you still have your mind and still have the will, you can do anything to change your life. It's a matter of not quitting, not giving up, not giving in, and knowing that there's something better out there for you. But if you're around negativity, such as people who are around people who drink and use drugs, and that is prone to depression, which depression is negativity. Negativity is not going to help you progress to be the best person you can be. Instead, if you pursue fruitful things, get involved, volunteer, um, look to make a mark in your life to help other people, I think that you can do anything, but you have to make that first step. And the beginning steps are hard. And I've been a long time, and probably because majority of my recovery has been on my own. I've started to let other people in my life. I realize that there are positive people out there. There are people that are not looking to trip you up, and you have to trust your intuition about a person. And if they're talking about drinking and drugging and partying and all that, it's not something that anyone needs in their life. I occasionally go out for a drink to the bar, sure, but somebody that drinks all the time, they're not ready to be involved in life, in making life in society better. You know, there's negatives to any job you do, but if it does help the common goal, then and for the community or society you're in, then that is worth something to explore and maybe grow within yourself.